Welcome to another episode of Bridge to October. My name is Adrian D'Agostino. That's my co-host Cooper Smith. And today we're going to recap and preview both series that the Cleveland Guardians will be playing. Obviously, they came out of the Seattle Mariners series with a split. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot on our hands. Obviously, some pros and cons throughout the series. Obviously, Chase DeLauters showed up and showed out. But there's a lot of things that, are very concerning. And let's start off that. Let's start off with your cons list that you made the other day.
You want to start out with cons, or you want to do the quick pros?
We'll do the cons since there's so short of pros.
The pitching rotation was really bad, I think. Bybee he gave up 3 homers. Williams, he walked 6. Cantillo didn't make it out of the 4th. Ciccone gave up 6 earned, which I think CJ Kayfus was kind of at fault there a little bit. And then total, we gave up 14 earned, 14 walks, and 18 innings of work, which is just not going to get it done. And then the second con I have is Steven Kwan. That was just brutal series for Steven. Last year, I don't think he was as good as he has been. He had a 99 WRC plus, tick below average. I think I don't know if you see that, but I see he's flying open and pulling his head, which is leading to a lot of contact to the left side of the field. So he's trying to crush the ball, which that's just not his thing. Give that to DeLauters, Hoskins, Ramirez. So he put 15 balls in play. 14 of them were under 90 miles an hour. 9 of them were under 75 miles an hour. And only 1 was hit over 90. It's just really disappointing. Hoping he gets on track here soon. I'm going to stay a little bit, try to be patient with him, but just underwhelming year last year, underwhelming spring, and then an underwhelming first series, which leads to a little bit of concern for me.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll touch on the starting pitching in a little bit, but speaking of Steven Kwan, like you said, the body language is not there, right? It seems like he doesn't want to be here. It seems like he's a guy playing for a bigger contract, right? And the only way he can do that is to produce it offensively. That's kind of what's been his biggest, weakness. Last year, like you said, OPS plus, not a lot of great at-bats, getting jammed in fastballs inside, pulling open, hitting weak ground balls to third. A lot of pop-ups to short that we saw, weak lineouts to short. That's not going to get it done for Steven Kwan. A table setter for this offense, especially the way Chase DeLauters has been swinging the bat.
Yeah, you touched on that fastball a little bit, and I think he wasn't the only one at fault. This team's inability to hit a fastball this series was unbelievable, besides Chase DeLauters, of course. It just seemed like it was just a weak foul ball straight back to the screen, or it was an elevated fastball, swing and miss, see you later. You're facing a couple guys with plus fastballs in the Dodgers series, so I really hope they can make the adjustment and put the ball in play.
For sure, and especially against a team like the Dodgers, who have Yamamoto, Sasaki, even Shohei Ohtani, that can reach it up there at 100 miles an hour. The lack of the ability to hit velocity, and it kind of showed in the series, especially last night against Emerson Hancock, who went 6 innings of no-hit baseball. It showed if you can move the ball around against this ball club, touch the corners, have nasty stuff with a good sinker that ranges up to 97. As long as you can locate, you can have yourself an outing like that. Because let's face it, man, there was not a lot of good swings outside of Chase DeLauters in this series out of this lineup, and Zardo looked awful. Ramirez is just, he starts off slow. We can't always expect him to be Jose Ramirez from the jump. Steven Kwan's been an issue since the beginning of spring. He showed that he hasn't been able to hit the ball hard. One ball that hit over 90 miles an hour, it's not going to get the job done, especially, him being, our second best hitter. And then also another thing I want to talk about, too, is Rhys Hoskins not playing. He's not in the lineup today. Went for 3 for 3 with a walk on opening day and, didn't get a hit in the second game, but he's been putting up quality at-bats. Why is he not in there, right? Why are guys like Daniel Schneemann and Gabriel Arias and even Brian Rocchio getting at-bats over guys like Rhys Hoskins? And let's talk about that. What do you think about the lineup so far? Do you think it's just like trying to get everybody working, or do you think this is how things are going forward?
I hope Rhys Hoskins is not hurt, because not playing him for 3 straight games is just ridiculous, in my opinion. I mean, you could probably sit Manzardo for a game, because he has 10 strikeouts and 16 at bats so far. Maybe just give him a little bit of a break, and put Hoskins in there, a veteran guy, lots of pop, good eye. Will hit the ball hard. I don't know. It's early. I'm sure they're just trying to get everybody in. But I need to see Reese in this lineup a little more.
Yeah, he's a professional hitter, right? A lot of these guys that when we're watching just some bad at bats across the board, other than what to me, DeLauter, Daniel Martinez had some good at bats. I know the numbers don't show it,
I think
but
Schneemann
Reese,
has some good at bats too.
yeah, Schneemann did too. But for me, man, I'm not a Schneemann believer. That's just me. I don't believe in Daniel Schneemann. I think that the way in his role right now, the way they are using him, I'd rather have Travis Bazzana take those at bats, especially if he's going to play almost every day, right? If Daniel Martinez isn't going to be as big of a factor as we thought he was, because what he only played last night and had a pinch hit appearance in the second game, he's starting tonight too. But to my point, I think if they were going to do that, I'd rather see Travis Bazzana take those at bats away from Daniel Schneemann, just because I think the production would be much larger with Bazzana out there.
Yeah, Schneemann, I mean, his pro is he can play everywhere. I would love to see Bazzana come up and take at bats away from Mr. Gabby Arias, who every Cleveland fan's worried about him, and he's 1 for 10 with 5 strikeouts to start the year. So it's like we were right all along. And Bazzana's doing well in AAA. So I don't know. I don't know how quickly they're going to make that switch. Maybe Arias has a good series. Maybe one of his good series here against the Dodgers, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, and talking about Gabriel Arias too, which I think is a great point that, potentially, somebody's going to have to take at bats away from him, whether that's Brian Rocchio or anybody else in the farm system or even on the major league club. He's shown, I know it's only 4 games into the year, but he's shown that he's not patient at the plate. We saw in spring training he wasn't chasing outside the zone, but it seemed like when the lights are the brightest, Gabriel Arias becomes the same player he is every year, right? And to continue that, and he had a 613 OPS. That's just not going to get the job done as a major league shortstop. And to my point is I think it's only a matter of time until he's gone. I know they're going to give him the opportunity until he is completely washed out and they're done with him, which they give these guys so many reps, so many opportunities. We saw Nolan Jones get a full year last year. Gabriel Arias has had 3, full years since then. So I think it's only a matter of time until they have to make a decision, because the way he played in this series was unacceptable. And I know it's April. It's March/April. I know it's early, but we're a contending ball club. We showed that in the series against the good Mariners team that we could compete with the best. These were the 2 best teams in the second half last year in the American League. So in a potential tiebreaker scenario for a playoff spot, later in the year, that last game that we just played would have been huge if we won that. And Gabriel Arias, I know it's not just him, but in this entire series just didn't show up.
Yeah, we're on year 4 of this crap with Gabby. I'm tired of it. I'm done. I just think, I've been kind of harsh on Juan Brito this spring and kind of last year too, but he's been smoking the ball so far. Maybe if they want to give him the first look instead of Travis, just to manipulate Travis' service time a little more, they can do that. I think one of those 2 could come up and be instantly better than Gabby. Maybe not defensively, but we need to score some runs.
Yeah, and runs was the only thing to me in this series, because Seattle in both of those games showed the ability to put up crooked numbers, and the only way Cleveland won was because of the Chase DeLauter big home runs, the couple big innings they had when they capitalized on mistakes from Seattle pitching. The second game and the last game of the series, just complete dominance by Seattle's offense. And the only way you can beat teams like Seattle, Toronto, the Dodgers, and so the Yankees, and so on and so forth, is you have to produce offensively, right? And if you have guys that are automatic outs like Arias, Hedges, sometimes even Rocchio can be an automatic out, in my opinion. He wasn't this series. But to eliminate the factors like that, this team with the pitching that they have, and I don't think the starting rotation is going to be this bad like they were in this series, but if they can compete at the level of playing somewhat good baseball offensively with the defense that they do behind them, the pitching and the bullpen, this team's is prone to win 90 games.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to point out that I think this team's going to be fine. Finding a way to split against a team like Seattle, who we both picked to win the World Series, is really good. I know it was mainly one guy, and if we didn't have that one guy, we'd probably be 0-4. But we had him. We're 2-2. We got to look at the positives there. 2-2. Chase DeLauters playing again. This team can find a way to win ball games.
For sure. It's going to take time, right? It always takes time, especially in the beginning of the year for the offense to get rolling. And I'm good to see Chase the ladder, one of those guys, catch fire right away. Because as of now, and as early as the year is, as light as it is, you need somebody to catch fire like that and take over games. You've seen it across the league, right? Kevin McGonigal for the Detroit Tigers is doing the same thing. They're 2-1. So it's not just us that has this issue. It's plenty of other teams as well that are great ball clubs that are struggling out of the gate offensively, but have the one guy carrying the offense.
Yeah, as a baseball fan, this week was really cool to see all the rookies, just have an amazing week. And another cool thing was, I know I'm going off track a little bit, but seeing Mike Trout finally hit some balls again, hit some balls hard. The sport's better when Mike Trout is healthy.
Oh man, for sure. The Angels, we'll get back on track in a second, but the Angels really showed, a little bit of promise. I know it's only 2 games against the Astros, who might take a little bit of step back, but to see Mike Trout finally get that swing back, Joe Pop, play with some speed. We haven't seen that from him in a minute. It's kind of to connect those points. The same thing with DeLauters, we could say as well. A guy that, had injuries in the past. A lot of people were concerned how he would come out and play in his first full major league season. And he's kind of shown that, with the ability to slug and the ability to play some pretty good defense. I know he botched the one ball in right field. I think it was in the Apple TV game on Friday. But other than that, man, he's really impressive. And they're very cautious with him, so for sure, I would say. But what are your thoughts on DeLauters' excellence and success so far?
Dude, I freaking love it. I haven't had a prospect make me smile like that since Francisco Lindor. A lot of people hate his swing, but I think it's a good swing, looks wise. It's different, it's unique, and it obviously works. He's a threat every at bat. I don't know, man. He's such a professional. I hope he stays healthy. I'm kind of shocked they haven't sat him on a bench for a game.
No, and they've DH'd him for 2 games this year, so they're trying to be cautious. I am kind of shocked that they didn't, sit him on the bench for a game, but I think eventually when Valera comes back, that will be a possibility, but they want to get him in the lineup as much as possible. He's been the best hitter in baseball right now, not just on the Guardians, but in baseball. But, dude, like you said, the best prospect, excitement that we've had since Lindor. Obviously, Gabriel Arias brought some hype when he first came up, Tyler Freeman, all those, Nolan Jones, but they didn't pan out. But the thing with Chase DeLauters is it's a lot different, right? It always seemed different. Left-handed, big tower power guy that's shown the ability to slug in the minors. It was just a matter of time until he got to the show and showed what he was truly capable of. And a lot of, like you said, the swing, a lot of people are very, critical about it. They, former pitcher that turned into an outfielder in college, it kind of shows, right? But he never really changed it. I don't see what the issue is. He's just really short. It's a lot like Kyle Tucker in my eyes, and a guy we'll talk about later on in the show when we break down the series. Just really short, uncomfortably short swing with a lot of pop. He can go all sides of the fields. Great approach. Just an overall major league hitter, elite guy, and I'm excited to see what he can do in a full season.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Chase Utley, how he kind of stopped his swing before fully following through. I mean, if he could have a career like Chase Utley, that'd be huge.
For sure. If he can continue what he's doing, there's no issue or problem that, he'll be on the club for long term. He'll be a rookie of the year candidate, and it's a great fit for this ball club. I do want to touch upon some of the other names in the lineup. We did talk a little bit about Kyle Manzardo and his struggles, but Bo Naylor didn't have a great series as well. And I know you had a little bit of stuff on him on your cons list. What do you want to talk about Bo? And are you really concerned about how he showed up? I know it's only been 4 games, but...
No, I just wrote Bo Naylor believers being put on hold right now, and I'm one of them. I was hoping for a big start, a big series from him, just to get the ball rolling. Does he have a hit? Yeah, he does.
I think he had 1 blue pit, yeah.
He's one for 11 with 4 strikeouts. No, I feel like he's going to get hot here soon. He's not in the lineup today. We got Mr. Austin Hedges catching.
Third catcher.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, carrying three catchers, dude, for me on this club doesn't make any sense, especially with the past couple years with the offensive struggles in general, but especially in the outfield. Like carrying three catchers just doesn't make any sense. But Bo Naylor, I didn't think his at bats were terrible. I think he was more trying to figure out his timing. Obviously, he came back from the WBC. He was just hot for that whole week and a half stretch, and he's going to cool off. That's the game of baseball. You can't be extremely hot like that for months on months. But I'm very confident he could pick up where he left off eventually.
Yeah, I also thought his at bats were pretty good. It's just he couldn't do damage on that one pitch in the at bat. Ended up either weakly flying out or striking out. But I think just keep with the process. If you keep having good at bats, you're gonna find that one pitch to hammer. I do think this still is the year for Bo Naylor.
Oh, for sure. You just got to grind him out. It's a much needed day rest for him, especially catching all of those games except for one that David Fry caught. Still a lot of workload to begin the season. Hopefully, tomorrow night against the Dodgers, he can figure it out. But let's move on to this Dodgers series. And obviously, two-time world champions, back-to-back champs, excuse me, stacked lineup across the board. A lot of people have issues with the way they've constructed their roster of previous years, but that doesn't really matter right now, right? What matters is, the Cleveland Guardians or in Chavez Ravine taking on the two-time defending champs and have a chance to shock the world, right? Early in the year, this is really a test for them to see where we stand, right? Overall, when it comes to competing for a World Series title, competing for more than just a playoff berth.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm also a little scared because I know this series could go south pretty quickly. Parker Messick on the mound game one. It's a big test for him. Big opening game. Just gotta attack, be aggressive, don't hang pitches. You gotta also jump on Sasaki because we kind of destroyed him in the spring. Maybe this is Manzardo's time to get going because he hit a grand slam off of Sasaki in the spring.
Very well could be. Yeah, very well could be. I think this is a winnable game for Cleveland. Obviously, we'll make our predictions later on, but Roki Sasaki has shown the lack of command in his MLB career, right? A lot of walks, a guy that throws really hard, very young pitching prospect, not really prospect, but you get what I mean, very young pitcher over from Japan that came from the MPB to MLB last year. Struggled a lot with his command, struggled a lot with the MLB mindset of, days rest, the workload, the routine, and all that sort of stuff. It's different from what he was very used to. But for Cleveland, like you said, Manzardo has shown success against Sasaki in his young MLB career, especially in spring training. Take that with a grain of salt. But for guys like Stephen Kwan, this could be good for him because, seeing a lot of pitches, maybe a 12-pitch at-bat gets him going. Jose Ramirez, same thing. Maybe like an 11-pitch, 12-pitch at-bat gets him going. This is the type of guy to do that, and maybe that sparks something in this offense.
Yeah, we need to be more aggressive, and Kwan needs to be more aggressive out the gate. I saw too many first-pitch meatballs. I get you're trying to see pitches, but that could be the only good pitch you see to hit all at bat. There's a fine line between being too patient and too aggressive, and I think he's being too patient right now.
For sure. He's shown in the past not to swing at the first pitch, but I think against a guy like Sasaki, if, you see him in warmups and he's actually throwing strikes, or maybe it's in the third inning where he's not walking guys and he's controlling and he's in the zone, take a rip, man. Take a rip. Be aggressive. Try to, not just rope a double, but just try to catch a barrel. I think that's what he's trying to do, and he's trying to do too much right now. You could see it with his, lack of hitting the ball hard right now. He's swinging as hard as he can with the bat speed training that he did this offseason. Just go up there and catch a barrel. No matter where the pitch is at, just catch the barrel. That's the mindset. Easier said than done, obviously. But that's what Stephen Kwan needs to do to start just, be a spark in this offense.
Yeah, dude. It's not his game to trying to hit 450-foot home runs. It's not his game. You have protection behind you this year of DeLauters, Ramirez, Hoskins, Zardo, and then you're going to have Bazana behind you too. You don't need to hit home runs. You need to get on base for those five guys.
For sure. And you made a great point. DeLauters is behind him this year. Previous years, there was nobody behind him. There was Ahmed Rosario. Last year, it was a mixture between Lane Thomas, Aniel Martinez, and God, I forget who wasn't in the
Ryan
there were so
Mangiaro
many.
behind him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fry Manzardo, right? So it would be like a mixture of the two. But he finally has a guy that is there that's going to have a 300, 400 bats behind him. He knows if he just gets on base, there's going to be dudes with DeLauter and Jose to bring him in. So at this point, just be a good leadoff hitter. See pitches, work the count, just continue to grind out good quality at bats, and the rest will take care of itself. We don't need you to hit 15 to 20 home runs. We need you to bat, 280 with an OPS of 740, and a guy that just gets on base with like a 350 on base OBP. That's what I want from him. I want him to lead the league in runs scored.
Yeah, he very well could if he gets on base, because you have those 3, 4, or 5 guys behind you. Seeing Stephen Kwan homer a lot last year and the year before that was awesome, but when he was just, in the 6 to 10 range, he was hitting like 280, 300. I mean, he was a difference maker. He gets on base and other guys drive him in. And we had weaker lineups that were driving him in. And this year, I think our lineup's a lot deeper. And if he's on base, I think he's going to score a lot more runs.
Yeah, for sure. And it is a lot deeper. I know the results haven't showed yet, but they will. Guys like Eniel Martinez, Manzardo, they'll both heat up, right? Jose Ramirez is about to turn the tide. Probably you'll see him tonight make a big impact. So it's going to be sooner than later, folks. He's not that far away. But as you said, it's only a matter of time till the boys spark and show that they're around the corner of being, I think, maybe a top 10 offense in the American League this year with the depth that they have. Now, do I think that Stephen Kwan is the only issue right now offensively? No, but I do think Stephen Kwan not being a good leadoff hitter and acting like he doesn't want to be there is an issue. And I don't know. Do you think this is more of a contract extension issue, or do you think he's completely checked out of Cleveland?
Well, no, if it's both. I think he's just trying to do something that's just not his game, and I think he's just trying to hit a bunch of homers. And it's not how he plays, and that's not how he's successful.
For sure. I don't disagree with you there. I do think that some of it does have to do with him wanting some money and all that sort of stuff. He's getting to that point of his contract, but I don't think that he's that type of guy that, makes that his personality.
No, I mean, if he keeps playing like this, I think he's going to play into our price range, and you could probably get him for cheap.
Oh, for sure. For sure. He'll get that nice little Miles Straw contract, that 5-year, $20 million. Yeah. Hey, but let's preview some of the other games in the series, right? What a brutal stretch we have to go through. Tomorrow night, Tanner Bibey's going to go up against Shohei Ohtani. Are you concerned about Tanner Bibey's shoulder at all? I want to touch on that before we get into Ohtani.
Is he scheduled to start, or is it still TBD?
No, he's now projected to start tomorrow.
Is he? Okay. Not really, because I know this staff, medical staff, wouldn't, put him out there if they had any questions. And so no, if he's good to go, I have no worries.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned, not of his health, but the matchup. I want to talk about this. Gave up 3 home runs in the opening day. The Mariners hit 4 solo home runs. He gave up 3 against a team like the Dodgers. Man, when he continues to nibble, then he'll just go up 3-1 fastball down the middle. See you later. I don't need that from Tanner Bibey. I need Tanner Bibey to control the beat up the bottom, continue to work, continue to grind these at bats against these Dodger hitters that are truly elite. And this is my major concern: is how he's going to attack these guys, attack these hitters.
Yeah, he led the league, or close to it, in home runs last year, and not off to a great start this year. You said it, the nibbling and then grooving a 3-ball heater down the middle is not gonna fly, especially against this offense. So he's got to be sharp with every pitch early on, and he's got to stay out of the middle of the zone. And if he does that, I think he'll have the success we saw in September.
Yeah, and he's not too far removed from that. The confidence is high. You kind of saw in his last outing. He had to pull himself because of the tweak in his shoulder. But if you remove the 3 home runs, really, it was kind of a good outing for him. Didn't really walk a lot of batters, like Gavin Williams, who we'll talk about in a second here. Like, Jesus. But, man, yeah. But offensively, I do want to touch on Shohei Ohtani is who we'll face tomorrow night. Obviously, he's a unicorn. A lot of people think that he might be the greatest of all time, and for a good reason, right? Hard fastball, good split. He has some nasty stuff. This will be his first start of the year. Do you think a little bit of nerves could factor into the Guardians having success against Ohtani, or do you think that Ohtani's just going to go out and shove and go 7 scoreless?
I don't know. I think it could go either way. I want to be optimistic and say that we're going to get to him early, and, with hitting and pitching, he might be a little tired. But he's one of the best athletes we've ever seen, and until he stops, I don't think there's any reason he's not going to go 7 shutty with 13 strikeouts.
It's a coin flip for me, right? Because I think there's an ability that he could throw a no-hitter. He's just that good, pitching-wise, hitting-wise. You know what? I don't think that's going to happen right out of the gate, but I think he'll have a quality outing, five and a third, 6 innings, so on and so forth. But for Cleveland, if they could find a way to jump on him, get him a little bit uncomfortable. He's not really good out of the stretch. So if Cleveland can get guys on base, runners on base, and like we talked about earlier, Stephen Kwan doing his job at the leadoff position, they'll have success against Ohtani.
Yeah, 100%. That's just kind of the thing all series. You got to be aggressive facing Sasaki, which we saw some success in the postseason last year from him. And they're facing Ohtani, and then the guy who finished, third in Cy Young, Yamamoto.
Yeah, World Series MVP Yamamoto.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead first. I was just going to close it out and talk about our final game of the series before, but you talk. What do you got?
I was just going to ask for your predictions for the series.
Oh, yeah. Well, taking a look at the final game, we got Gavin Williams against Yamamoto, and Yamamoto, I think, is just going to have powering stuff. Obviously, we know what he did in the postseason a year ago. So dominant against the Toronto Blue Jays, they brought him out in the bullpen in Game 7 of the World Series to shut it down, to go back-to-back for them. But for Gavin Williams, I think this is a good matchup. Out of all the pitchers, maybe Parker Messick could show success today. I think that can very well happen. He showed the ability to battle against tough lineups this spring. Maybe he could do that today. But for Gavin Williams, as long as he doesn't nibble and doesn't walk batters, has elite command, his stuff plays, and I think this is a great matchup for him. For the Dodgers as well, I think this could be a great matchup for them if he's walking guys. But for the predictions, man, I'm going to go 2-1 Dodgers. I think we'll take one of these games. Possibly tonight, maybe against Yamamoto, if Gavin Williams is just on point. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we'd take 1 of 3. I don't know why. I just think tomorrow's going to be a loss, but I hope I'm wrong. But I think we win either tonight or Wednesday.
Yeah, I think tomorrow will be a loss because of the repertoire of Bibee giving up home runs against this type of lineup that is just completely stacked and just one of the greatest lineups of all time.
Yeah, I guess I'll give you a prediction or two. I think Jose finally hits a home run, or somebody other than DeLauters hits a home run, and I think Manzardo will also hit a home run.
Yeah, so I think Parker Messick goes 5 innings of scoreless ball today. That would be mine. And then I think that Jose Ramirez will have his home run too. So those are my 2.
It's about time, or he's due to give up, or he's due to start hitting.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. His bats were not terrible, so yeah. But that's all I got for you. You got anything else?
No, dude, game's 1 minute away from starting, so
yeah.
Excited.
Let's get you out of here. Yeah. From Andrew D'Agostino, that's Cooper Smith. We'll see you next time on Bridge to October. And thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Peace.